Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler. Here at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, we want to say welcome. Now, we're brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, first of all, I want to tell you that we find our information for this show in many different places. We have some mentors, both ones we've met and ones we haven't met, both in books and in person. So as we gather information, we come to share it with you. Realize that it's not just about you. Now, leaders, the thing about being a great leader is learning to be intuitive. I want you to understand exactly what that means, being intuitive. That means really kind of knowing what's going on without what's going on. Now, I hope that makes sense. But one of the things about being intuitive is if you must learn to size up the situation and provide a solution and then take action on it. Now, the thing that I think is funny most of the time is when I'm working with different leaders around the country, that I learn is that they take too long sometimes to come up with the solution, and then they don't enact it. And when that happens, the trustworthiness goes down with the people that they're working with. Now, being able to size up a situation, I have to tell you, is not always easy because there's 3 steps in this piece. First of all, is once you recognize what the situation is and you can actually put a name to it, you need to do some research so you can gather all the information about it before you make your decision. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be times when you're going to have to make snap decisions, immediate things that are happening right now. But I will say this. Sometimes, and the better decisions come from the discernment process of taking the time to do the research and then get prepared and then execute the decision. I'm encouraging you, though, to take the risk and take it and put it into action. Now, here's the thing. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, okay, try something else. But if you see a situation that needs to be corrected, do something. And that's being intuitive of what's going on. But I'm going to tell you what, being intuitive is a whole lot easier when you've done some things to make sure that that happens. One is you must stay on top of the trends. What's going on in your world, in your career, in your function, in your factory, in your organization? What's going on in other places? I oftentimes ask leaders, did you ever do any research on what someone else in your same organization or your same company is doing? How are they doing it different? What makes it different? Are they doing some things and they're trying something new and it's working? Well, you know what? If you don't know, you don't stay up on it. You need to both to understand them and to be ready when an opportunity presents itself. I'm going to tell you what. So many times we're working now with people who have been displaced, laid off. Maybe they've changed jobs and they can't get rehired. They say, Dick, I can't get a job. And that's usually because they didn't stay up on their career, or they didn't stay up on the company, they didn't stay up on the trends of what's going on in their world. And they've lost touch. And when you lose touch, it's pretty hard to be the leader. Now, I'm going to also encourage you to know your resources. Know the who, what, when, where, and how. And you know what? That's going to take some intentional relationship building. Intentional relationship building. And I don't say that lightly. I am telling you that as a leader, if you don't know what those around you can add and the value they can bring, you're missing out. One of the things that I believe make great leaders is they become the go-to person. They know if there's a situation, who to call. If they need something done, they know who to touch. And if they need a product or that type of opportunity, they know what company to go to. And they've built those relationships. Now, building those relationships, again, take intentionality. And I can't even tell you how important that is. But if you think you can run a company and you can run it from the desk and you can just never have to get out and talk to anybody, and you really believe your company is going to be a success, I'm going to have some really conversations, I'm sure, when you give me a call and tell me that the company's not doing well. Wow, that can be a real stickler, can't it? Now, you must know your people. You know, each person has a set of skills and knowledge that can be shared or should be. And building relationships beyond the how. I love this. How you doing? Well, I'm great. Well, do they say that always? If they say they're great every single time, you don't know them, and you're not taking the time to get to know them. But if you take the time to get to know people, you get to really take the time to know who the resources are and what resources you have. And you really take the time to stay up on the trends that's happening in your world. And you really take the time to look at situations and solutions. What you're going to find is that it's going to bring a unity to the team. And that unity is going to be so important to you. Now, I don't say this lightly because I know it's not all that easy to make happen. I also know that in today's world of fast-paced moving things, it's not easy to get to know people even across their cell phone. But I'm going to tell you what, leaders, take the time, be intentional. I'm going to also encourage you to do some self-evaluation. Yep, that hard stuff. You see, when you know yourself, you understand what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. You will know who and when to bring someone else in around you. I work with pastors from time to time, and you know, they all say the same thing. I'm good at this, but I'm not good at everything. Many are good preachers, many are good teachers, and many are good at pastoring the people. But finding a pastor that is all three is pretty tough. Now, a good pastor, a good leader, will supplement with someone else who can do that part if they're not good at it. And that's what knowing yourself, knowing what your weaknesses and what your strengths are, becomes so important. And this intuitive leader piece that we're talking about today really starts to shine. It's not just knowing the situation, but it's knowing how to come up with the solution and how to put it into action. It's staying on top of the trends. And you know what? That's not easy. Things move so fast today. I spend most of my time reading both books, emails, um, web pieces. I go to seminars. I listen to other speakers. I'm always doing this learning. And this ongoing continuous learning that leaders must have, that will give you this intuitive ability to see farther than those around you, to know more, but not know less. But I'm going to tell you what, you can't know everything, and that's knowing your resources, knowing the who, what, when, where, how of the organization and of the people, knowing who the people are. What do they like to do for fun? Who are they when they're not at work? You know, I have to tell you, I ran into my physician here, on the docks, and I found out he loved to go fishing. Imagine that, going fishing. And I never knew that before. Why didn't I? Well, I didn't take the time. I wasn't intentional about finding out what my doctor likes to do when he's not taking care of me. I should have, and I will from now on, I guarantee it. If you ask somebody, hey, how are you doing today? That's, it's a pat answer. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Everything's just fine. Everything's hunky-dory, and everything's just wonderful. And you know what? Most of the time, that's true. But if you haven't taken the time to really get to know that person, that's the only answer you're going to ever get. Because that's the trust value that you've imparted on them. And knowing yourself, understanding your strengths. Where are you coming from? I'm going to tell you what, it becomes important because as you work with others, they're going to be able to ask you those questions. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes answering them is not as much fun as it sounds. Now, as we have looked through this part of being an intuitive leader, I hope for two things. One, you're seeing yourself as someone who needs to be intentional about what you're doing. And two, I hope that you see that by passing on this information to those around you and they becoming intentional, the other people are looking for ways to have the situation and have a solution and take action, that others around you are looking at what are the trends and what do we need to be spending time with and looking at, that other people are starting to understand just how important it is to know the resources of everyone else around them and in the organization, that other people are going to realize how important it is to be intentional about knowing one another. Above and beyond the job, and above and beyond the organization, above and beyond anything else but getting to know and captivating that part. And others will take the time because you did, because you showed them that this is important, to take the time to really look at themselves and understand their strengths and their weaknesses. And leaders, if this is a struggle for you, if this is something that you don't feel comfortable with, working with other people, give us a call here, Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training Development. Give us a call, send us an email, let us know how we can help you help those around you. That's how important this is. You see, this intentionality of building relationships builds companies. Intentionality of relationships builds organizations. Intentionality of knowing one another builds families. You see, it's all goes together. And as leaders, if we can pass this on, if we can exude this, if they can see us doing it, people do what people see. And people repeat what people hear. So leaders understand that they're always looking and listening for you. Now, I want to take this just a little bit farther. I want to take this into just a little bit deeper. As you listen to this next part, I hope you say to yourself, oh my, I need to do this. As leaders, so many times we're asked to do something. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can we do, and your answer is usually yes. Even when you're overloaded and you pick up your schedule and you go, well, oh man, I've got to fit something else in. I just said yes to it. I can do it. I'm going to give you a phrase. Just say no to yes. I'm going to tell you that it'll free you up. You see, the first thing that I want you to look at before you say yes or no, I want you to look at is your schedule. The second thing I want you to look at is I want you to look at, does this match up with our mission and vision? And then I want you to look at your list of priorities. Does it fit within that? You see, as we start doing this prioritization, this just say no to yes. For so many times I've heard if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And likely or not, that busy person will come through. But when we overload that busy person, it becomes not a fun thing anymore for them. It becomes a job, a just over broke job. And when that happens, the enthusiasm and passion dwindles. And when enthusiasm and passion dwindles, the mission and vision seem to get lost, because now it becomes a humdrum, have to do thing. And as leaders, being intuitive, we're going to have to be intentional about knowing our people. Did we overload them? And as leaders, we're going to have to learn to say no from time to time. I have learned that making sure before I say yes, I always say no. I let them come and ask me, give me a reason why, and I ask them those questions. Does this fit within our mission to achieve our vision? Is this something that needs to go on my priority list? Is this something that needs to be done right now? Where on the priority list does this really come on? I have found when I do that, oftentimes it wasn't as full of priority as they had initially thought it was. They oftentimes go, well, gee, that's really in someone else's backyard, and they can do that, or they should be doing that. You see, but if you do and you say yes all the time as the leader, pretty soon you're not on your schedule will be full. Your mind will be full. You will not be as creative as you once were. Solving situations and coming with solutions will be much harder. And as that fills up, you have no time for MARF. Maintain absolute rigid flexibility. You have no place for flexibility. And if the car has a flat tire, it's the world coming to an end. If the traffic is too heavy and you can't get somewhere, the world's coming to an end. You see, these are all problems in life. They're all opportunities in life. They really aren't that important. Knowing your priorities, knowing what your values are, do the things that you're being asked to do fit in with the mission and the vision? The reason I talk about this all the time is that this whole piece of being a leader, an intuitive, not only of ourselves, but of others and of the company, of the organization as it lays down, starts to really add up. So by saying no right off the bat, I have to tell you that people have kind of gotten used to me doing this now. And when they come to me, I say, can you do this? Well, no. And they know that they're going to have to explain what it is they're asking me to do. It's going to have to meet the priority list. It's going to have to meet the mission and vision as part of what we're doing. And I'm probably going to ask them, does that belong in some of the department? Is there somebody else that needs to be doing that? Because as the leader, I should be only doing, and you should only be doing, the things that only you can do. You hear what I said? You should be doing only the things that only you can do. Now, if somebody else can do it 80% as well, by golly, someone else should be doing it. But having the vision clearly written down, that you're going to look through that lens, having the mission clearly written down that you're going to look through that lens, starts to take some of this other parts and pieces out of it. And I've been able to take and say no a lot more than I ever used to. We're finding that we're getting a lot more done too. We're finding that everyone else is starting to do the same thing. Now they're starting to say no until the questions are answered. Now, if it comes down to I'm the only one that can make the decision, I'm going to make it. If it comes down to that I'm the only one that should be or could do that particular piece, I'm going to figure out how to put it in my priority list. And I might have to juggle some things around. But before I say yes, I'm going to say no, so that people understand how this works. And an intuitive leader is going to find themselves saying no to sometimes that same person more than once. Yeah, you're catching on, aren't you? You see, people will come to you as the leader as we allow that to happen. I hate to say we train people because, we train dogs. We don't train people. We teach people. We instruct people. But I'm really trying to share with you that being an intuitive leader, you can't do everything. You can't see and do everything. And saying no before you say yes will help you do that. Learning to size up the situation takes time. I don't think it happens overnight. John Maxwell often says that leadership happens daily, not in a day. and I hope that means that I'm getting better at it as I put on a few years, or as I mature. I don't know which one's better. But the thing is this taking action with it. It's that three-legged stool. The first leg is realizing that there's a situation that just came up. Second leg of the stool is really looking at the situation and finding a solution. But that three-legged stool will fall over unless you put it to work. So there you go. Encouraging not just yourself, but everyone to stay up on the top trends. One of the young people that I'm working with right now sends me the top trends every week of my world. As a professional speaker and instructor across the country, he sends me who's talking where and what the topic is and everything else, so we can kind of stay in tune. And he's a young pastor, so I'm really enjoying being with him as he sends me these top trends of what I should be talking about next week. He does it so we both understand and we're ready for that next opportunity when it presents itself. And I'm really enjoying it. Knowing the people that I work with, knowing the people that are around me, knowing their resources of who, what, when, where, how, knowing what their set of skills are, what values that they bring, means I've got to be intentional about taking time and speaking to them and letting them just share with me. Oftentimes I'll walk down and just ask them, hey, what do you do for fun? What do you do when you're not working here? When you're out and about with your family, or just what are you doing? And it's amazing to me the number of different things that people have told me. And the one gentleman that I work with all the time, we live in Florida, and he's an ice hockey guy. He's on an ice hockey team, and I would have never known that at all. So knowing that, so what we found is the connections that he can bring, the value that he brings are the connections. Now that's pretty important, isn't it? If you're just asking someone, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing today? They're going to give you the pat answer. I'm doing great. They're going to walk by, and that was the end of it. But I'll tell you what, if you don't take the time to be intentional to really find out about that person, they know how you feel. They know that you just really don't care. You can't expect people to care about you until they know you care about them. Building this unity of a group of people, a team, a company, an organization, a church. Building that unity means intentional intentional relationship building. If you as the leader are not good at it, bring somebody on alongside you that is. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. I'm very fortunate. I have a partner that she fits right in because she knows my weaknesses. And I know what my weaknesses are, and we kind of blend together to make a great team. Here at Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training Development, it has amazed me year after year that we have maintained the same team by sharing all the time. And by learning my favorite thing, how to say no before yes. If you can learn these things, I guarantee you that your leadership will start to shine, and your leadership will start to go in a way that you're just gonna love, because the others around you are gonna become self-guided leaders. They're going to see that you've taken the time to learn how to read the situation, get a solution, and put it in action. And you know what? Pretty soon they're going to do it on their own. They're going to see that you're taking the time to learn what the trends are, to have the ongoing continuous learning about the career that you've chosen, no matter what the opportunity is. And they're going to see you do it, and they're going to follow direction. And you know what? Self-guided. They're going to be there because you've been intentional about finding out the resources. You've been intentional about finding out about the people that you're around. They're the leaders that you're growing around you are going to say, boy, that's important to them. It must be important to me. They're going to really take the time. They're going to really take the time. They're going to see you take the time to really put some effort into understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And they're going to see how you're building that team with you of leaders who are going to complement inside and outside your leadership opportunity. They're going to see that you as the leader know when to say no before you say yes. And as you stack this all together, being the intuitive leader, you're going to find out that it doesn't happen overnight. The leadership does happen daily, not in a day. And as you move through the different ages and stages, you're going to find this intuitive part grow. But you have to be intentional about it. It's not something that if you don't pay attention to it is going to work. And that's the hard part, I believe. I think that that's the hard part for leaders. We get so busy in doing what we think we need to be doing instead of doing the last part and taking the time to learn about ourselves and make those hard things. You know, when I started looking down at my weaknesses, there were things I needed to learn. There were things I needed to do. There were things I needed to add to my learning ability. And you know what? Hasn't hurt me a darn bit to learn those things. Now, I'm pretty good at some of them now, but I'm not real good at all of them. And that's why my partner is so good about stepping in and complementing my weaknesses. And she was the one that taught me how to say no before I said yes. And so I pass that on to you. Now, on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, we want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our hope is that you have received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you build your leadership ability. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, just let's do something. Send me an email, dick@leadershipwrangler.com, dick@leadershipwrangler.com. Go ahead and make a phone call, 727-422-1833, 727-422-1833. Go into the website and set your very own appointment with me, www.leadershipwrangler.com. Or if your organization is ready to have the Leadership Wrangler come and do a keynote speech on leadership, all you have to do is dial that phone, 727 422-1833. And until next time, this is DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.